If you're listening to me today, it is likely because you're like me. You're not willing to settle for less than the best for which you have been designed, created, and ordained. You were created to love like God loves. I was reading in the Bible yesterday. I believe it was Hebrew 12. I'll put it in the description. To love with a sincere love, without guile or hypocrisy, and do not tolerate evil. In a nutshell, that's what it says, that we are to love one another with a sincere love, without guile or hypocrisy. I love the Amplified version. But I actually looked up the word guile, and it says sly or cunning intelligence. Who is guilty of loving for the purpose of fulfilling your own selfish needs? That is cunning. That is sly. That is trickery. It looks like love, but it's not sincere. I believe that it's more often common than not that the type of love that we fall into when it comes to this day and age that we live in is some form of sly or cunning intelligence, which sounds familiar. Sounds like someone who is slithering around in the garden. So I was asking myself yesterday, how do I love sincerely without selfish motivations? I don't want to be sly. I don't want to be cunning. I don't want to be deceitful. And the Lord pointed me to himself. Jesus himself is our prototype. He came with a sincere love, a love that was solely interested in the betterment of humanity, a love that was sincere, without being sly, without being cunningly intelligent. He really wanted what was best for you and I. He saw what was best about us, even while we did not. He knew our value, even when we did not. There was nothing for him to gain in coming to us. He was fulfilled. He was satisfied. He was accepted. He was a king. He was royalty, but he made himself a man. He was not living for any outcome. He had nothing to gain. His love was 100% selfless, and it was a powerful love that innately contained within it the power of salvation. His love was an offering. His love was a sacrifice. The fact that he calls us to love one another even as I have loved you shows us that Jesus came not to show us the bar was so much higher than what we could ever attain to. He came to set the bar for us to live from. That means I need to be changed. There's no way in my own might am I gonna live out the love of Jesus if I'm living out of my old identity. I was selfish, covetous. Any attempt to love was more cunning and more a sly form of intelligence than it was sincere. So what the Lord showed me is that if we truly long for and desire to love sincerely, we must become intimately acquainted with His love for us. That His love for us was from an outcome. We were created to live from the outcome, just like Jesus. This is powerful, right? We were not created to live life towards other human beings for any outcome, with any condition involved. We do not live towards each other needing something in return. Jesus did not demonstrate that for us. That means Jesus came to pull us out of needing an outcome to living from an outcome. He pulled us out from needing affirmation, needing validation, needing satisfaction, to having affirmation, having validation. We have satisfaction. We have validation in Him. The only way to be unleashed in this sincerity of love is to understand that Jesus came to bring us into fulfillment. The fullness of His love is our norm. The fullness of joy and peace is how we live on a daily. We don't live needing to be loved, needing to be affirmed, needing for food, needing for money, needing for position, needing for authority. We're living in it. By the grace of God, we are now seated in authority, seated in prosperity, seated in wholeness, seated in good health. Are you following me? I can love you sincerely because I've been loved sincerely. I know what it is. I've been loved from a sincere God. And let me tell you this, sincerity will come in between you and your vices. Sincerity is not tolerant. God will not tolerate that which is destroying you, that which you have made your identity. You have found your identity in your vices, in depression, in anger, in addictions, in settling, in low standard living. The sincere love of God is coming in between you and any and all things that are keeping you from the highest level of self. What's keeping you from living like Jesus? It's got to go. I do believe a man should be ripped and rich and righteous. He came to set the bar at normal. Normal is ripped, rich, and righteous. Why? Because we were created to represent Him well. So we must seek after the sincerity of His love for us should be our passionate pursuit. God, help me to see and to know You in truth. There is nothing for You to gain. You are living from having all needs met. You love me unconditionally, Lord. I thank You for that. Now, help me, God, love my fellow man. Help me live from this fulfillment. Help me live from the outcome. It's possible, not only possible, this is our normal. This is our normal. I live daily from the outcome. I am a king, a righteous son, and a warrior, and a righteous man of God. I'm excited today to live from an outcome, to love my neighbor even as I have been loved. Powered by grace.